everyone stand up. Everyone stand up. Come on. Stand up. Stand up. Okay. Shake the arms out a little bit. Shake the arms out a little bit. Come on now. There's some serious action going to happen here. Maybe a little bend over. All right? Let's have some fun today. All right. Maybe you should just intro again.
Hello, everyone.
Good, thank you.
My name is Taylor Ahern. I'm with Luxury Presence. You are in for a treat. It's rare to say that the agents you're about to meet on this panel have done a collective $20 billion in collective business. That's a B, as in billions. Harmony Lane, CEO of Coldwell Banker Realty, is set to lead this incredible panel on an informational session about how to get to the top and stay at the top of your game. So with that, Harmony Lane.
Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me? Yeah? Okay, great. Wow, what a packed room. Thank you guys for joining us and for your patience in getting started today. And I am so excited to get started. I have the pleasure of moderating a panel with truly the best of the best in this industry. So everybody on the stage needs no introduction, but we've got a beautiful slide, so I'm going to do it anyway. So we've got Tim Allen from Coldwell Banker Realty in Carmel by the Sea, California. We have Judy Zeter from Coldwell Banker Realty in Coral Gables, Florida. We have Jade Mills from Coldwell Banker Realty in Beverly Hills, California. And we have Carrie Wells from Coldwell Banker in Aspen, Colorado. Sorry, Carrie, I don't actually think yeah, no, I didn't know that Mason Moore, yeah, in Aspen, Colorado. Welcome to these amazing panelists. So everybody on this panel has sold billions of dollars of real estate in their careers. Everybody on this panel has set records for highest price per square foot, has dozens of celebrity clients, has probably signed more NDAs this year than most of us will ever sign in a lifetime, and really is at the top of their game. And not only that, everybody on this panel has stayed at the top of their game for a really long time, sustained success. But I want to talk a little bit about how that actually happened. Now, you know, we had a prep call. I know each and every one of you very well, and so I know this to be true, but we also talked about it on our prep call. Every single one of you on this panel built your business. There was a day when you walked out of your house and you were a brand new real estate agent, and you started from scratch. You didn't inherit anything, and you built it to 20 billion and counting. So I want to hear that story. Tim, let's start with you. Talk to us about the early days. How did you get started, and what was that path to get to where you are today?
Well, first I want to start with.
Let me see. There we go.
I'm a little mad at Judy. She didn't wear my socks. I gave her socks this morning, and she didn't wear them.
They're comfortable socks, I can attest.
You know, they're great socks. Comedy has a pair. First of all, honored to be here and surrounded by such amazing women and people, and the people in this room. I mean, it's an honor and it's a pleasure. I'm not a real estate agent. I stopped being a real estate agent, you know, probably 25 years ago. My journey began with Coldwell Banker almost 30 years ago. We were in a room in Pebble Beach. I was with Del Monte Realty, a beautiful boutique firm, the top agents in the industry. I was kind of a new upstart with them, and we were having our awards banquet. And all of a sudden, some people came in, and Larry Knapp, if that rings a bell for any of you old Coldwell Banker people, they announced that Coldwell Banker bought our firm. And there were shudders in the room and tears, and it was almost like McDonald's was coming in and buying the French Laundry. And McDonald's is really good, so that's not talking about Coldwell Banker and where it's come. But I went up and I said, nice to meet you, and I'm looking forward to it. And they took us out to an event like this, and it was in Dallas, and it was huge, and I was sitting up in the nosebleed seats, and I was looking down at the stage, and they were handing out awards, and I said, you know, I'm going to be down there someday. And here I am, and it's been a while. But so fast forward, you know, I got my license. I was an agent. I quickly had a partner, because you need a partner. And then I slowly grew as an agent, and I would go out and interview and get listings and sell, and it took me a long time, and I did a lot of work, 3 open houses in a day, all kinds of things. But then one day I found myself sitting around a table, and I'm unscripted, authentic, so, you know, be careful. You know, things can come out here.
I love it.
But I was sitting at this table and talking to these people, and I had this out-of-body experience, and I was just going blah, blah, blah. And I thought, I can't do this. I just can't sell houses. I'd sold probably 500 or 1,000 houses. And I realized I just can't be a real estate agent. I have to engage. You have to engage people. You have to get to know them. And you want to help them. And from then on, I sort of transitioned into, when I go into these meetings, you know, there's talking points, but you get to know people. And you obviously have great confidence. And so I've grown that, but you can't do it alone. You just can't do it alone. Today, Platon, many of the things he said is what I love. I love to grow the pie. You know, when you work together, you can grow the pie. You know, we compete. Our business is co-opetition, right? You compete, but then you cooperate and you work to grow the pie together. And so the way I've been able to build this business, which now my company is the brokerages part of it, acquisitions and development, property management, and then marketing. I've grown it because I've grown the pie, and I've surrounded myself with amazing people that are like-minded, that have great character and skill sets. And I've grown and I've built relationships over the years. And that's, building these relationships and partnerships is the most important thing you can do to grow your business. And we're all here, we all do things very similar ways, but you do it with your own style because we're all different. And you do what works for you. And the partnerships you make are partnerships with your clients. When I go into a listing appointment, I said, I don't want a listing. I'm not here to list your house. I want to be your partner. And that's true, and that's where we're coming from. And the partnerships that I've made and the relationships that I've made over the last 40 years, I got my license when I was 10, have helped build this business. And let me tell you, sustaining it is hard. And I'm sure we'll get into more of that as we go down the road here. But that's how I've grown my business.
Thank you for that. Let's go to Jade since she has the mic. Jade,
I forgot the question.
Yeah, don't worry. I will restate the question. So, you know, you told me in one of our first conversations about when you first started in this business, door knocking with Tiffany, your daughter at the time, and literally getting started out doing the hard work. Tell us a little bit about your early days and how that led to where you are now.
So in the very beginning, everyone thinks that this business is going to be easy. Oh, just if you like people, sell real estate. If you like to see homes, if you like to decorate homes, this is an easy business. Well, as you all know, that's not true. And I started with my daughter when she was 2, and I used to pull her up to the door with me, and we'd knock on the door because I was told that door knocking was the way to get clients and to get business. So we'd walk up to the door, I'd knock on the door, and many times the woman of the house would answer and say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not interested, and close the door. And Tiffany and I would turn and I'd pull her back to the car, and a few times I would cry. I mean, it would really be very, very hard to take. And she'll never forget that. She is now a real estate agent. She said she never would be. But it's something in the very beginning that is very difficult. Never quit. That's all I have to say. Never quit. The easiest way to get started, I think, is to sit open houses. It's free, and a lot of us do not have money when we first get started. So sit open houses, meet people. I do love people. I love my business. But I have to say, in the very beginning, for all of you who are not really, really successful, because I know you're all somewhat successful, never quit. Relationships are so important. Making the connections and having these relationships are the most important thing that you can do. And keep in touch with your clients.
Carrie, let's go to you. You've sold $5.5 billion in your career. You just set 2 price records, one in Snowmass, one in Aspen. So many amazing inflection points. And you told me a story about sitting in a lawn chair on an empty field for 3 weeks?
Yep. So when I started out in real estate, I was not only new to Aspen, I had just, I met my husband in Aspen, we got married, and so I was new to the community, got my real estate license, and I worked for a gentleman who was the longest standing real estate broker in Aspen. And I learned so much from him about the history of subdivisions, who the developers were, and he had a 13-lot big subdivision 2 miles outside of Aspen. And I said, could I put some open house signs out on the 2 roads that lead into this subdivision and just sit there in a lawn chair and see if anyone comes by? And he said, sure. He thought I was a little crazy. But I did that. I thought, I don't have any listings. I don't really know many people in the community. Fortunately, my husband had lived in Aspen for a while, so I was getting to know people. But yeah, I sat in a lawn chair and waited for people to come for like 5 hours a day.
It's amazing.
And it worked.
And it worked. Hard work. Judy, you and I talk a lot about hard work. Just, there's no shortcuts. You're part of the Jill Zeter team that is on track for $2 billion this year. Tell us how you got started. Give us some early lessons.
So, hello?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So I started in real estate 30 years ago. I was very, very involved in philanthropy and raising my 3 children, and was sitting on boards, and I did a lot of school work at the schools, and I was raising the kids, and I was watching the world go by, and I kept hearing people saying, you'd really be good at real estate, because I knew so much about Miami. When I moved to Miami, and I think it's important, everybody moves to different cities, the thing that I did is I found out everything I could about the city. I came from Michigan, I came from Detroit, I'd lived in Boston for a while. I moved to the city. When I first got there, I was like, what is this? But I fell in love with it. But the way I fell in love with it is that I learned everything I possibly could about the city. Like, who are the founders? Where do they come from? What is the first building? What's a historic society? Okay, guys, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to say. Anyways, I don't know who heard me say anything, but first of all, also, I thank you for having us. That's, I guess, the first thing, and I apologize. I want to thank everyone for being here today. It means a lot to all of us to see you. So thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. But I was saying that when I got into real estate because I was very involved in the community. I knew so much about the city of Miami because when I moved to Miami, I made it a point to become involved in the community, to be in philanthropy, and to learn everything I could possibly about the city. So when I would be working with people and meeting them or sitting on boards, people would say, do you know somebody that you can refer me to buy a house? You know everybody. And then people would say, like, you should be in real estate. You should go into real estate. You would be great in real estate. And so I said, okay, that would be nice. I could help my family. I have 3 kids. My husband works all the time. And I can still do my charity work. I can still be involved in the schools. I can still do a lot of things because I'm a little bit crazy. But I went into real estate, and actually, I got listings, not right away, but I did get listings, and I did do the things. I always sat at open houses. And what was interesting is so many people who knew me would come by open houses, and they'd say, like, we just thought you'd be bored, so we're going to come by and talk to you. So I'd be spending hours, like, talking to, like, all these different people, just because it was great, but they got to know me and I got to know them. And I think it identified me from the very beginning as not just somebody who knew the city, not just somebody who was a real estate agent, but I was Judy's eater. And so they got to know me. And I think that part of what makes you successful in real estate is you need to be known for something other than just a house. You need to be known for you as a human being. You need to be known that you're going to follow through. You need to be known that you're going to care for them and take care of them. I grew up with the philosophy of WIN. It's not when. It's what is important now. What's important now? Important now is taking care of your clients, watching after them, being connected, listening to them, helping them, take out your hand when somebody needs you. That brings you success. So with all the things that everybody said here, but take your hand out. What's important now? I'm here, I can help. It might be selling a house, but it might be just a really bad day for you, and I'm happy to help you, I'm happy to walk you through it. So that's my story.
So it's interesting, you said be known for something. And Jade, I want to ask you this. You're known, like one of Jade's monikers is the $9 billion woman, because you've sold over $9 billion in your career. But was there an inflection point where you thought, I'm going to be at that level? Like, I'm starting out, I'm door knocking, it's hard, I'm persevering. Was there a point where you thought, one day I'm going to be the $9 billion woman?
So I grew up with an amazing mother, and she always told me.
Is that mic working? Yes, okay.
Can you hear? Hello? Hello? So I grew up with an amazing mother, and she told me I could do anything I ever wanted to do, and I believed her. And so when I first started in real estate, yes, it was difficult. And I have to say, one of the most important things that I learned very early on was to take someone with me on a listing appointment. Because when you're first starting, they don't know you, they don't know who you are. You can't go and say, I sold this and this and this, because you haven't. But if you take someone with you that has sold many, many expensive homes, then you have the credibility to take their listing. So 50% of something is much better than 100% of nothing. Take someone with you, and I did that over and over and over. But I have to say, the most important thing that my mother told me was never quit. And I say that over and over and over again, because so many times we think, oh my gosh, that was so deflating. I feel so bad. I didn't get that listing. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. Keep going. Tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow you're going to get that listing, and tomorrow you're going to sell that big house. So never think it's not going to happen. In the back of my head, I always hear my mother saying, you can do anything.
I love that. That's so good. You can do anything. Tim, I want to take it back to you. Was there an inflection point in your career where you thought, one day I'm gonna be the guy setting the records?
There's a lot of them, and what I'm different. We're all different, and I want to break through and do more and more and more, and have more of those inflection points and watershed moments. One of them was that out-of-body experience. Another kind of funny one, Tim Allen, right? I mean, everybody remembers my name. And early in the business, this was great, right? Tim Allen. And I started growing my business, and I'd be out and people would know me, and my wife, I have this ego. I have a massive ego. I do. But I have a huge ego. But I'm a humble man. I really am. And I am.
Both can be true.
So, we'd go out and you'd have your lunch or something, you'd pay your bills. Tim Allen, are you Tim Allen? Tim Allen. And my wife would say, you mean the actor? And my wife and the ego. So we were at Coeur d'Alene, which is a beautiful resort, right, south of San Jose. And we're out to lunch, and this sweet young waitress, very bright, comes up, and we had her. She goes, are you Tim Allen? And my wife goes, you mean the actor? She goes, no, the real estate agent. Oh my God. Now my wife can't say anything.
That was the moment when you knew you'd made it.
That was one of the moments, you know.
That and when you see people with your socks on.
Well, yeah, the socks are key. And you know, there's the moments that, you know, there's other moments. I mean, I had a moment today that was amazing for me, and I was on the treadmill, something I won't forget. And I do things differently. I mean, my workout in the afternoon, I get in my pool, I put music in my ears, I get the deep end, and I just do a crazy dance to the music, and it's aerobic, but it's awesome. And I couldn't do it here, but I needed to get my workout this morning, so I jumped on the treadmill, and I started realizing I could dance on that treadmill. And I'm looking funny in there, right? But I don't really care, right? It's what I do, and actually, I'm a pretty good dancer. But I was doing that, and all of a sudden, this really nice young guy came up to me, and he said, "Hey, I've been watching you dance." And he'd been through a tough moment that he just found out about yesterday. And he said, "You know what? You inspired me. You told me that you can get through the suck, you know, and I was inspired by watching you dance." And we had a meaningful moment, and I won't ever forget that, and I don't think he will either, and he's part of this family here. So to me, that was a moment, because that's what I love.
Yeah, it's all about making a difference in people's lives. Carrie, I want to take it back to you. You've been, you know, double fisting. You've been, you know, top ranked throughout the company, you know, in your market for many, many, many years. And what I'm curious to know is, you know, once you hit that milestone of literally being at the top, how did you sustain that? What's your strategy for continuing to break your own records and stay at the very top of the game?
Well, I truly live by fear that my last deal is my last deal. I've said this to many of you before, and I truly feel that way inside. And I value my clients, the relationship that I have with my clients. I value the boards I'm on in the community. And I also love people like my fellow panelists. It's a people business for sure. And so I think just staying involved in the community, giving back, being involved, be relevant, continue to have listings and advertise yourself on all platforms, whether it's social media, your website, print ads. I have a new app. So I think that you just have to continue to do the basics and keep your name out in the community.
Jade, same question. How do you continue to stay relevant? And I think it's, you know, really interesting, especially where we live. Jade and I live 10 minutes away from each other in LA. It's a very competitive market for everything, not just for real estate. But I feel like you stand in line in Starbucks and someone's trying to one-up you on the name on the cup, you know? How do you stay relevant?
Well, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Because wherever you go, whether you're in line at CVS, at the market, at Starbucks, wherever you are, you have to think and talk real estate, because that might be the next person that wants to buy a house. So I know that at the top of the Glen, when I go and get coffee, I always talk to as many people in there as I can. We are all very good friends, and we talk often. And I think we all love the same things about people. We love being admired, and we love doing a great job for our clients. And it is more important, I heard someone say, it's more important to me that the person that you're selling or buying for is happy at the end of the deal than the commission. I think all of us believe that. The commission is wonderful, but you're not going to make another one unless those people are happy and refer you. It is so important that you make those people happy, you do a good job, and you're honest forever. You have to tell them, don't buy that house, do buy this house. It is so important that you do the right thing, and you'll have more business than you can handle. You'll be referred over and over and over if you do the right thing.
Yeah, it is so true, and I often tell people starting out in this industry, you cannot chase the deal, you have to chase the relationship. Because if you chase the relationship and you show people that you really care and that you are invested in them, the deal will come.
And you care.
And you
really care.
And you care. Most people do between 2 and 3 real estate transactions a year. 60 to 70% of buyers are sellers. And those people need to have you on speed dial because they know you're going to do the right thing for them. Okay, I have one question that we talked about a little bit. Is there a silver bullet to success? Judy, I want to start with you. Is there a silver bullet to success?
So what's a silver bullet to success? I think that the silver bullet to success is really, really hard work. And the harder you work, the more successful you're going to be. But in line with that hard work is also always keeping your reputation. And you always have to remember in real estate that it's a long-term relationship and a short-term gain. And then my true success in my life, so for my silver bullet in success, was first my marriage and my children, but then it was my son, daughter, and later my daughter-in-law, who's not married to the son in real estate, came with us. And then the icing on my silver bullet, or the speed on my silver bullet, was of course the merger we made with the Joels. And to have Joel and Danny and Hillary in our life, my children are best friends, we're best friends, and to have that relationship and that journey and that connection that we've had with them. We talk all the time. We're always in deals. We do every time we have a problem, every time we have an issue, we have someone to talk to, someone we can share that moment with, someone we can role play with when we have to call a client. It's very important to have that in your career. We have that. And so my silver bullet in my life right now is the Jill Cedar Group. I have friends and family and new children and another sister. It's fabulous.
I love that. And I see the kids high-fiving back there.
I love these kids.
I love the kids.
And they're all superstars, so on their own right.
They are. It is a truly blessed group. Tim, what about you? Silver bullet?
This is blessed.
Yeah.
This is blessed. I got my friends here.
Yeah, do good work. That's what we're talking about here. But so it's easy, yeah, do good work. But it requires so much to do good work. I mean, at the core of it, when I first started this business, fiduciary, be a fiduciary, advise your clients, be a trusted advisor. But it's the combination of things that we bring to the table that set us apart. So always having your client interest first, and all the work that you do, commissions have to be a byproduct of that. You can't look at that first. And then it's an ever-changing industry, and you have to push the boundaries. You have to think creatively. You have to take chances. Hey, it's hard out there. I'm the same way. I'm always worried about the next deal. And I'm always trying new things, and I surround myself with great people like you all do. I'm kind of proud of myself. This morning at the general session, if you saw the marketing department, do you know what they're doing?
Making socks.
They're not making socks yet. They haven't gotten there, but that will be in next year's general session. They're advertising on the NFL.
Yeah.
I did that 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I literally did. So there's so many tools at your disposal now, YouTube. So I advertised at the Super Bowl. Can you imagine that? You know what that cost? $10 million. But how many? I didn't do it nationally. I didn't spend $10 million. But you can do it locally and regionally, right? And then you can use YouTube. And now I hear from people, Tim, you're everywhere. You're everywhere. Signs, advertising, YouTube. You can geolocate groups during golf tournaments, during the US Open, during the AT&T. You can geolocate people right there. And everyone goes to YouTube, and all of a sudden you're there. So embrace the future. Stick with what's important, the fiduciary, the tried and true methods that we all use. But then surround yourself with great people, because we can't do it alone.
Yeah. So marketing is a really interesting one. I know you obviously just told us some of the stuff that you do, and you spend a lot and you do a lot. I'm curious to hear from everyone, what do you do to market yourselves, or do you market yourselves? Why don't we just go in order, Judy?
Hi. So we do a lot in marketing. We happen to have in New York right now a big sign that says the Jill's Eater Group.
Big sign.
So
big sign is the understatement of the year.
yeah, so it's like we have a billboard in New York, right in the heart of New York, and that's been really fun because I get like regular pictures on texts like, oh my God, I saw you today. But we try to think of things like that. That was great. We've done billboards in Miami. We do a lot of, Jill and I, we believe in print still. The second generation believes in, a lot of social media and a lot of other things, and sometimes we don't even know what they're talking about, but that's fine. We learn from them. And I just think it's everywhere that you can be, you need to be. I get calls, everywhere I go, people go like, I think I know you. Oh, you're in my mailbox all the time. Mm-hmm. So I think you have to think of all the different ways. Everybody lives in different communities. So you yourself, without spending even any money, you are marketing yourself. So when people see you and they know you, one of the best ways to market yourself is to always behave in public. To never be mean to somebody, to never have somebody hear you yelling at someone, to always reach out and help them. And sometimes, and you'll just, like, I always make sure I introduce myself, like, I'm Judy Zeter, can I help you? Oh, Judy Zeter, I know your name. Or you're with the Jill Zeter group. So I think that marketing is not just having to spend dollar after dollar after dollar. Dollar is the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you behave, the way you present yourself, and then everything else that you can do. You've heard it today, like the Instagram, the Facebook, the YouTube, paper, billboards, obviously we love. Super Bowl, that'd be great. You can, we'll go in with you next year. I'm sure. But I think there's a million things you can do. We also have done some really fun things. So we sent, 2 years ago, Yetis to all of our clients. Like, we sent them out, and we got posts from all over the country with people walking around on the beach in New York, on an airplane, on a golf cart with our Yetis. We still see them. Then we had bags with our name on it. We pass out bags to all of our clients. I see them all over the city. I've seen people carrying our bag that I don't even know who they are or how they got them, but I think that's great. We've done umbrellas. So we do things that this year we have a big surprise for a lot of people. Very nice. And that we're marketing ourselves again. We've come up with something creative, but it's a big secret. And I just think you think of things that are good and fun, and and they see you and they see your name, and the more you can think of and the more fun things you can do, and not everything costs a fortune, you should do it.
The Yeti thing sounds so basic, but it's the biggest Yeti you've seen in your entire life.
Yeah, it's big.
And so it's noticeable. It's not like, and I use it every day. It's my water glass. It's how I measure my hydration, actually. But it's noticeable because it's this giant cup that like covers my whole face. And when it covers my face, all you can see is your logo.
I have a feeling you're going to get 3,000 Yetis. So be prepared.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Okay, so anyway, yeah, so we have a lot of fun things.
I agree with everything Judy said. And my husband believes in name recognition. Mm-hmm. So I am on the back of every playbill that you will ever see in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. So all the theaters have my picture on the back with a positive message. So we started doing this probably 7 or 8 years ago, and now there are probably 50 agents that are waiting for me to cancel this. And it is not inexpensive. So I've said to him many times, I want to cancel that. I don't want to do this anymore. He says, you can't. I am going to do this for as long as you're working. But it is great name recognition. When people pick up their program, you see the back of the program. And we've been to the theater, and it's actually very embarrassing because everybody has my face looking at me. But we also have a sign on the freeway because I pay to clean the freeway. We have a few things that I think are fun. We do a lot of Instagram. My son does my Instagram. And it mostly has to do with work, but there are some things. I have an amazing family also. I have 4 children, I have 7 grandchildren, and my husband is very instrumental in my business and does everything, a huge supporter. But I'm so blessed. I have my daughter Tiffany, who is here with me today, and Zach and Alexis work with me. Austin works part-time with me, but all of them have real estate licenses, and I feel very blessed that they love at least part of the business. They don't all want to sell, but they're very supportive. But I think that advertising and self-promotion is very important, and I have the same thing. People will see me at the grocery store and they say hello like they know me, and I say hello right back, and very, very few people when I come to their home will say that they don't know me somehow because of all the self-promotion that my husband has given me.
Yeah, go out to dinner with Jade Mills and you will have everybody in the world stopping by your table. Yeah, it's a lot of fun though. Carrie, how about you?
Well, it's interesting to hear stories because it is so true. How you look when you go to the grocery store, how you present yourself in your community, everybody is watching us. And I've had clients, new clients, that I'm waiting in line to pick up a sandwich for my son, and they've become a client. Everyone wants to talk about real estate and know what's going on in the market. And it's so helpful for us because we share ideas, we talk about what's going on in all of our luxury markets, and it's really helpful, especially when you have communities like Miami, LA, New York, other places that are feeder communities to Aspen. So you always have to have those facts at your fingertips to be able to engage with people around you. I do print ads, I do social media, I do all the things. I don't have a billboard in New York, but that's an idea.
That's a pretty good idea.
And many years ago, I want to say it's almost 10 years ago, I made a big financial commitment to take out the inside gatefold of Aspen Magazine, and that's the highest end magazine in my area. And it was $20,000 per issue just for the ad space. And after about 4 or 5 years, I thought I would take it out for February and March and July and August, the 4 strongest months in my market. And after many years paying all this money, I thought, I think I'm going to cancel doing this, kind of like you were thinking with the playbill. And then I got a call one day, recently after that thought, and I always like to find out how people got my name, and there wasn't an appropriate time to ask them on that call. So when they were in the car with me, I said, by the way, how did you get my name? And they said, well, we were staying in a suite at the Hotel Jerome. We opened up the magazine. We saw your ad. Then we Googled you, and we saw that you're involved in the community, and we said, this is who we want to work with. So I've kept doing that ad.
I love that. Love that.
And social media, I've had clients from my Instagram that I've actually not only sold them a home, but been involved in their weddings.
You know, one of the things that you all touched on is, you know, and you touched on it subtly, is getting to the high-end customer, because we're talking about luxury marketing here, right? We're not just talking about selling a home at any price point. We're talking about a very specific price point, and I think it's really important for everybody in the room who is aspiring to be a really successful luxury agent to understand what it means to market to the luxury consumer specifically. You know, and it's some of it is things like knowing where they're going in their free time, what they're reading, what hotel they might be staying at. But I want more lessons from you guys on how do you specifically go after the luxury consumer, and has there been any kind of unlock for you in terms of going from just selling real estate to really being a major player in the luxury market? Carrie, why don't you keep the mic and then we can go back this way.
Well, I think that you have to live the same lifestyle in a way, which doesn't mean that you have to go out and buy a private plane. I'm just kidding about that. But I think you have to understand your luxury client and you need to have the highest end of customer service. You have to anticipate what their needs are before they even realize it, and be so educated that you're bringing them value, because they can have anything they want. But we know more about our markets and what's going on with our elected officials and what could be problematic in the real estate market. And so if we can give knowledge to our clients, I think that is also so important to them.
Tell your popcorn story.
Oh, my popcorn story. So there's a owner of America's favorite football team, without mentioning a name, and I've helped their family the last 28 years renting properties. They've never purchased yet, and so the first time I met the owner of the team, I asked his assistant, what does the family like? What kind of flowers? I wanted to have gifts in this rental property. And the assistant thought about it, and she said, I don't know. And I kept bugging her. And she said, well, he likes movie theater popcorn. So I got a big silver ice bucket, and I filled it with like 20 big bags of movie theater popcorn. And when I picked him up at his plane, I said, I have a little something for you in the back seat. And he turned around, he said, how did you know? So it's just trying to always be thinking about your clients and putting their interest and speaking their language and being knowledgeable.
And he'll never forget the movie theater popcorn. Jade, what about you?
I love that story. And I think that we all have made the mistake of picking up a client or picking up the phone and not knowing who the client is. Google everyone before you meet them, before you go to their home. Know who you're going to be seeing so you can be knowledgeable about their lives. And that's such a I love that story, because they will never use anyone else, because Carrie cared about what they wanted. And I have a few examples of that also. But I think the other thing that we've touched on lightly, knowledge is king. Knowledge is the most important thing that you all have, and it's free. We can go on Google, we can go on AI, we can go anywhere and get all of this knowledge. What every house sold for in your area, what the top houses have sold for. So you can actually talk to people about this and be knowledgeable, and they think that they need to use you because you're gonna know more than anyone else. So I think that when you're thinking, what can I do to get into this space, you can know more about the upper end than anyone else.
I love that.
The other thing, I think that our team's really blessed. We work with some really great clients, but it goes back to doing a really good job. So when you do a really good job for a client, if they're happy with you, if you sign an NDA, respect that NDA. If you're going out there and you're working with it, the worst thing you can do is be driving down the street with a high-end client and saying, oh, so-and-so lives here and so-and-so lives there, and this person bought that and that person did this. Because the thing that they're going to do is that they will know that they're the next person that's going to be out there. So do a good job. If you do a good job, you're going to end up with referrals. And the heart and soul of your business is referrals. And that referral, that client will refer a person, that person will refer somebody else. We've worked with a number of companies this year where we worked with the top person in the company. We brought them in, they were happy with us. They had us meet with HR. We moved most of those companies into town. If we hadn't done a good job, if we had told their name to everybody in the city, if everyone knew they were coming when they were coming, we wouldn't have that business. And not only wouldn't we have that business, we wouldn't have any of their friends' businesses. So protect your client, don't talk about your client to other people, and do a good job, and it will come to you. It will come to you.
And
all about
everybody
referrals.
around you, the attorneys, the family offices,
Everyone.
it really is a big snowball effect.
No, and you're talking to financial advisors, you got a lot of things, but yeah, it's all important.
Agree with everything there. How do you reach them? Engaging content and technologies. I'll tell you the Santa Claus story. So we do beautiful videos. I've got a marketing department, very creative director of that. So we did the Santa Claus video. It was around Christmas a couple of years ago. And there's this reporter, beautiful gal, breaking news, Santa's coming down on his sled to his Pebble Beach house to shred. And then it cuts into Santa driving his 1987 VW white Synchro van. Santa, right? and Rudolph, his reindeer, which is my dog Brick with the ears. And it's a lifestyle video. We're selling lifestyles. We're not selling bricks and mortar. So it shows me getting up in the morning, or Santa getting up in the morning, long johns, putting on my glasses, having breakfast, whipped cream everywhere, cookies. You know, I walk by, the fire lights up, they're seeing this beautiful house on the water. And then I end up going out and going surfing. And I will admit, I had a stunt double for the surfing part of it. Although I should have had Carrie out there. Next time you're in. But it was engaging, went viral. Kids loved it, the parents loved it. And then you have to target it to the right people through meta ads and things. And again, I don't know this. You surround yourself with great people. This private equity guy saw it in San Francisco. It engaged him. He called. The other thing we do here, we pick up our phones. We pick up our phones. Pick up your phone, okay? Also know when to hang it up. Like when you're leaving a voicemail, don't make sure you hang it up and have anything afterwards. So I picked up my phone. You know, I sold him the house. But the rest of the story was, they weren't even looking in the Monterey Peninsula. They were looking in Santa Barbara. They were there the week before and had a bad weekend. Nothing was out there. So we grew the market, we expanded the market, we added demand, we added a whole new buyer to this market because we had engaging content, we targeted it, and then we were there to take action when we got the call. And then the rest of the story, and this co-opetition and whatnot, we can grow the pie. Agents sometimes think, oh, Tim got that deal, one less deal for me. Well, sadly, this young family got divorced like 2 years later. Well, they sold the house. 2 more $16 million transactions. It grew the pie. So have engaging material and then be able to respond to it.
So many great lessons from this group. You know, I think it's important to recognize that luxury consumers can act on a want more versus a need more than the average home buyer or seller, right? So some percentage of people want to sell a home, some percentage of people need to sell a home, and the luxury consumer can often act on that want. And you want to be there to capitalize on that want. You want to take steps to create that want. You want to be top of mind, you want to be known for the service, and you want to be the person who they call and who they know is going to pick up the phone. I think we've learned some really great lessons here about consistency, about hard work, about investing in your business, and about the fact that any one of you can be on this panel in a few years if you follow some really great lessons from the best of the best. Thank you so much for your wisdom, for your dedication.
Okay, hard work's done. Party time. Where's the shots?